These are 5 inventions coming to the near future, starting with number 1, 3D printed food.
So 3D printing started, not a lot of people know this, but it started back in like the 80s. It first started with plastics, industrial materials, and then it only really started to move into different domains like food in the past 10 to 15 years. So this is our fruit printer that we're working with, doing all of our testing. This machine can pick up different ingredients on this tool carriage here. So once it picks up an ingredient, it can start moving around with it in an XY direction. Since we're using data in the process, we can control all of the nutrients and all of the things that are consumed by the individual. So it's basically all about customization for the user.
Next up, we got nanobots for number 2. This could be the future of the medical industry as we know it.
Assistant professor in the Department of Electrical and Systems Engineering at the University of Pennsylvania. My group makes tiny robots. They're somewhere between 3 hairs widths all the way down to something like 3 times a red blood cell. So literally microscopic. One application in healthcare that we're looking at is using tiny robots to repair damaged peripheral nerves. Your peripheral nerves are the nerves that wire your brain to the rest of your body. So let's suppose that somebody gets into an accident and injures a nerve that's in their arm. One of the things you desperately like to do is to make that nerve grow faster. But it turns out that nerves have one very special property, which is if you pull on them, you can make them grow faster. Our vision would be the surgeon would use a needle to inject one of these micro-robots into the injury site. The robot would be chemically coated with an attractant that would cause the nerve to bond to the robot. And then the robot would carry that nerve, pulling it down the length of the arm to the muscle that it's supposed to be rewired to. And upon reaching the muscle site, the nerve would reconnect with it, and the robot could be surgically extracted on the other side, allowing the person to have their motor function or sensory function restored. Still really early days in this research project. Our long-term vision in something like 50 years or so would be to actually have this in the hands of surgeons and hospitals throughout the country. And I think that's going to open up enormous new possibilities for medicine. All kinds of new windows open up when you can heal the body with cellular precision.
If you thought that was interesting, just wait till you see number 3, flying taxis.
It's the stuff of science fiction, now closer to reality in the Bay Area skies. Flying electric taxis could be the future of flight. Just yesterday, the technology received a critical approval from the FAA. And ABC 7 News anchor Ahmed Dates tells us several local companies stand to benefit.
Flying taxis are being cleared for takeoff by the FAA. The agency announced Tuesday it had finalized the framework for how the taxis will operate and how pilots will be trained. This is being called the final piece of the puzzle.
For the last 80 years, we've had 2 types, rotor and fixed wing. We now have a 3rd type. So that it's really an extraordinary moment.
There are companies looking to launch service as early as next year. Joby Aviation, which is based in Santa Cruz, is one of them. We spoke with the company's head of product earlier this year about what they're cooking up.
What we're doing is developing an all-electric air taxi that can take off and land vertically like a helicopter, but fly like an airplane using a wing, which allows it to be a lot quieter.
Just imagine calling a taxi and next thing you know, this helicopter thing comes and picks you up. That would be insane, right? Well, just wait until you see number 4.
Developing something that can help us do or be more than what we initially thought we could be. IHMC's focus comes from its name, Institute for Human and Machine Cognition, with a conscious focus on developing technologies that interface with people to improve their lives. Our work in exoskeletons began with paraplegic mobility, to empower those who had lost the ability to walk upright. This journey led to a series of powered devices, each building on previous advances over more than a decade.
Then with Ava, our focus shifted to augmenting able-bodied workers in hazardous environments, especially in jobs needing heavy protective gear. With the goal of comfortably offloading this constant necessary weight, we developed new hardware prototypes and control strategies, allowing us to explore numerous movements and postures. But because we were bound to the lab during this phase, these prototypes could never begin to fulfill their purpose.
Now, with the newest version of Ava, our focus is to step out into the real world. To improve the safety of workers of many different body sizes in whatever task they must do. We hope that one day this will allow those with demanding jobs to avoid injuries over the course of their careers, to live their lives to the fullest.
An exoskeleton in real life? Whoa, I thought that was only a thing in Call of Duty. Alright, next up, number 5. This is where we got a refrigerator that takes 0 electricity. It uses this cool gel to cool down your food.
Sticky, odorless gel morphs around groceries to keep them at their optimal temperature. The fridge is adaptable. It can be hung vertically, horizontally, or even from the ceiling.
If you enjoyed watching all this amazing tech that's coming to our near future, please like, subscribe on this video. Make sure to turn on notifications as for future uploads. As in later videos, we'll be looking at cooler and more amazing tech. Stay tuned for more.